Okay, all right.
Oh, I thought he was done.
Mr. Copeland, you need to finish your answer?
No, I need a break, Jan.
Say again?
I need a break.
If you're a Godfather Part 2 fan, by the way, it's very Frank Pantangeli. Michael Corleone did this. Michael Corleone did that. Sure, why not? Anybody, by the way, if you're a fan of the movie, honestly, that's not a bad impression. I encourage everybody to tell me otherwise. But anyway, so Copeland, let's go back to him. He says he doesn't remember much of what happened in that interrogation.
Do you recall what Thug said in 2015 to Kel?
Yes.
Yes, you remember what Thug said?